People in uniform are trained to see the truth fast, or so Captain Mark Harlan believed. But on the day he accused a quiet single-dad janitor of being a liar, he learned that even the sharpest Marine officer can misjudge a man. Because the moment a 4-star Navy Admiral walked through the door, everything Mark thought he knew shattered, and the janitor's real story began. The echo of boots on polished concrete always made Sergeant's row feel like a heartbeat. Captain Mark Harlan marched down the hallway with the certainty of a man who had earned every ounce of respect stitched to his uniform. Today, however, his jaw was clenched, and his fists were tight at his sides. Some civilian, worse, a janitor, had accessed the restricted wing of the training facility, and Mark wasn't in the mood for excuses. He spotted the man kneeling beside a mop bucket, wringing out a gray cloth with quiet, tired hands. The janitor looked up when Mark approached, dark-eyed, mid-40s, wearing a faded work shirt with the name, Elias, stitched over the pocket. He looked like someone who carried a world of worry behind calm eyes. "Sir?" Elias said with a polite nod. Captain Harlan didn't return the nod. "You entered a restricted area last night." Elias blinked. "I was called to clean up a chemical spill. They said it couldn't wait." Mark crossed his arms. "No one authorized that. And don't lie to me, your badge doesn't open Sector C." Elias lowered his eyes for a moment, the way someone does when choosing between pride and peace. "I didn't force anything, sir. Someone let me in." "Who?" Mark snapped. "Your imaginary friend?" For a moment, Elias didn't move. Then his voice softened. "Sir, I don't lie. I have a daughter waiting at home. I work to keep life steady for her." Mark cut him off. "Save it. You're not the first to make up a story to cover negligence." A sharp sting flickered in Elias's eyes, but he swallowed it, returning to his bucket. "Believe what you want, Captain. The truth doesn't change." Mark felt irritation flare hotter. Something about the man's calmness made him feel as though he was the one being unreasonable, and Mark hated that feeling. Especially since he built a career on reading people. Suddenly, an alarm beeped overhead, a high, urgent chime that made both men look up. Sector C. The very place Mark accused him of entering. A small cluster of Marines rushed past, shouting about a missing access report and the possibility of unauthorized entry earlier that morning. Mark's stomach twisted. "Captain?" one corporal called. "Security confirms the spill cleanup request was real. Someone else initiated it, someone with high clearance." Mark's eyes flicked toward Elias. The janitor didn't smile, didn't smirk, didn't say "I told you so." He just stood, wiped his hands on his work pants, and grabbed his bucket. "I'll stay out of your way, sir," Elias said quietly. For the first time, Mark felt something shift, like he just misfired in a room full of witnesses. But his pride kept his mouth shut. He'd apologize later, he told himself. Except moments after he turned to walk away, the sound of heels clicked sharply against the floor, and every Marine in the hallway straightened their spine as if struck by lightning. Because the woman walking toward them wore a uniform with 4 stars. And she was looking directly at the janitor. Admiral Diana Rowan, one of the most respected leaders in the U.S. Navy, strode down the hallway like someone used to storms parting before her. She was sharp-jawed, steel-eyed, and composed in a way that made even seasoned officers feel like raw recruits. But when she reached Elias, something unexpected happened. She smiled. "Eli," she said, voice warm enough to silence the entire corridor. "I was hoping I'd run into you before the briefing." Every jaw dropped, especially Captain Harlan's. Elias bowed his head slightly. "Admiral Rowan." "Ma'am." Mark's mind scrambled. How did a janitor speak to a 4-star admiral like they knew each other? Admiral Rowan turned to Mark. "Captain Harlan, correct? I assume you're the officer who filed the report concerning Mr. Ramirez's access?" Mark stiffened. "Yes, Admiral. I believed he entered the restricted area without authorization." "Well," she said, folding her arms with a kind of polite disappointment that felt worse than shouting. Perhaps next time you could consider asking him why before accusing him. Mark felt heat crawl up his neck. Ma'am, I didn't know he had authorization. Of course you didn't. The Admiral softened. Because his clearance is privately issued. By me. Whispers rippled down the hall like wind. A janitor with personal clearance from an admiral? Elias looked uncomfortable as ever, gently clearing his throat. Admiral, please, you don't need to explain anything. I do, she said firmly. Especially since I'm the reason you were in Sector C last night. She turned back to Mark. And the whole story poured out. Elias wasn't just a janitor, though he did the work with humility and pride to support his 9-year-old daughter. Years ago, he had served as a tactical logistics specialist for a classified Navy unit. His calm nature wasn't weakness, it was training. He wasn't loud about his achievements because trauma and responsibility had carved him into a quiet man. And Admiral Rowan? She had served alongside him. He saved 6 sailors during a supply bay explosion, she said. Carried them out one by one. Suffered lung damage he still lives with today. And when his wife died, he left the service to raise his daughter alone. Mark felt the weight land on him like a blow. And, the Admiral added, when we have a chemical spill, a security breach, or delicate equipment to move, I trust him more than half the officers I command. Elias looked away, embarrassed. Mark swallowed hard. Sir, Elias said softly, I never meant to cause trouble. Mark stepped forward, chest tight. No, Mr. Ramirez. I'm the one who owes you an apology. The corridor was silent. Elias hesitated, then nodded. Not triumphant, not smug, just kind. The kind of kindness that made Mark feel small in the best way. Admiral Rowan placed a hand on Elias's shoulder. Come on. The briefing room's waiting. As she led him down the hall, Marines parted like he was royalty. Captain Harlan stood frozen. And for the first time since he'd earned his rank, he realized that humility, not authority, is what makes a leader worth following.